Good evening, my friends. Welcome to our midweek devotional for, it is the 15th of May. I almost said it's the Ides of May, but that's March, not May. It is the first devotion recording time of the summer season. Now, so not everybody's out of school. Public school still trudging along, I think maybe for one more week. But for Grace, for Winston Academy around here, we're out. And so here is the less pressing schedule season as far as Wednesday goes. So we have no after school. It's just you, me, and this microphone, and I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful to be able to keep up with this even as the schedule changes around here. But just a thought I wanted to share with you tonight, as always. The only announcement I have for you locally is to remind you about distribution on Sunday. I haven't checked the weather. We're in the season of it might rain, it might not. I haven't noticed anything. But that doesn't matter. We've done it in the rain before. As long as there's not lightning shooting out, if you're willing to stand out there, so am I. So distribution at 2:30 Sunday, where we get to love on our neighbors. And in fact, I could bring it up. I'm going to mention it in worship soon, because it's important that you realize exactly what you're accomplishing as a church. There are over 500 people a month that you are helping with what you do on this distribution Sunday afternoon. And I don't know about you, but I think that's amazing. The average is above 500 people a month. They come to you, you love them, you help them, you speak kindness to them, and then they are sent back into their lives. And I just believe that God is using that little effort to accomplish a thing that we may not live long enough to see, but someone will. The good that comes from loving your community and loving your neighbors in the ways that God has enabled you. I'm lucky to be able to be a part of that and be a part of this church. But that's Sunday, and there are blank sections in May, the last week of May, Memorial Day, and then I'm going to have the church kind of quiet for that week. The office hours super shut back, cut back, whatever the terminology I mean to use is, just for some quiet before it ramps up into the summer, and the summer ramps into school starting, and school starting ramps into the holiday schedule, and it just keeps going. And the older I get, the quicker it comes and the quicker it goes. And so here for this moment, to just be still and reflect on all of the goodness and all of the truth that the Lord has revealed to me and to all of us in the Bible. And tonight I find myself back in the book of Proverbs. We were in Proverbs on Sunday as we considered Proverb 31 and the fact that the words being shared there are so famous about the importance of recognizing a quality, godly, righteous woman, that those words were given by a mother, that's the words of a mother shared to a son about knowing the worth of a good woman. But I am quite fond of Proverb number 30 as well. Again, one that is not traditionally attributed to Solomon. And I love this one. We've actually talked about this, and most of you might know. I can see all the little verses that we've used before in my little backgrounds, and one of my favorite sections of Proverb 30 is what we have talked about: remove falsehood and lies far from me. And then Agur, the author, talks about give me just enough food, give me what I need. You're reminded, Jesus says, give us our daily bread, but Agur writes and says, give me what I need, not too little, so that I steal and break your law, but not too much, so that I become full of myself and say, who is God, that I question my need of you. Just keep me in the center of what you give and what you need. And I like being reminded that I don't want too much. I don't want too little. I want what you say I need. I love that. But I also love the poetry in Proverb number 30. And it's found kind of, when you learn to look for it, it's found all over the place, but you see it a lot in the book of Proverbs. This pattern, there was an ancient Near Eastern pattern of writing where you would say a number and then you would add one to it for emphasis. So you might say, there are 3 things on earth that I hate the most. There are 4 things I absolutely despise. You would write that way. So there are 6 things the Lord detests, yes, 7 that are an abomination. So you have this pattern of a number and then one number more for emphasis, for it's just a style of writing. I just love being able to recognize it, and you see it a lot towards the backside of Proverb 30. Like, for example, in verse 15, there are 3 things that will never be satisfied, 4 that never say enough. And then I get to verse... Well, now I can't find it again. There are three things that are too wonderful for me. This is verse 18. There are three things that are too wonderful for me, four that I do not understand. Then verse 24, there are four things on the earth that are small, but they are exceedingly wide. You see him break the pattern. He doesn't say five. He just sticks with this four, and he goes on. Then verse 29, there are three things that are magnificent in their step, four things that move magnificently. You see this poetic pattern, and you begin to understand what's being written to you, this poetry of wisdom, and reading it. For example, I love when he talks about the things that are small. It starts in verse 24. There are four things that are small. One of them, we argue, academics, not me, Hebrew academics argue over exactly what the word, does it mean spider or does it mean lizard? Most people say it means lizard, but he says, talking about things that are small, he says a lizard. You can catch it with your hand, but he says, and I want to say it the right way, it gets into the palaces of kings. It makes its place. It sits where kings go. And you and I can't do that. So I can catch that lizard with my hand, but that same lizard can go into the places of kings, and I can't go there. Like how curious that is. Or it names an animal that we're not very familiar with called the hyrax. It looks like a funny mouse/dog. It's very small, and it lives in the crevices of rocks. And so it's just very reflecting on how life is so rich and interesting. And in the midst of all of that, I sure do get angry a lot. I sure do get fussy a lot. I had the chance to be in a small group very recently, and they were talking about self-control and temper, especially in a man's heart, losing his temper, being angry. Somebody quoted Nick Saban, and I want you to be proud of me. I'm telling you, I want you to be proud of me because I knew who that was. I knew that was the former, very well-known, famous, I was about to say referee, no, coach of Alabama's football team. Alabama, very famous Roll Tide football team. Nick Saban, their coach. God help me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong? No, I can't be. Am I wrong? I was so proud of myself. I think I'm right. Anyway, he's a football coach, and he was quoted as saying, "Nothing good ever happens when I lose my temper. Nothing good ever happens when I lose my temper." Well, here in Proverb 30, there's a suggestion towards that idea about being mindful over your behavior and what comes out of your mouth. It starts in verse 32. If you have done foolishly by exalting yourself, or if you have planned evil, put your hand over your mouth. Now, what a beautiful way of saying shut up, right? Put your hand over your mouth. And then you get verse 33, and that's what I'd like to call your attention to, and then I'll be out of your way. But verse 33, he says, "For as the churning of milk produces butter, and as punching of the nose produces blood, so stirring up anger produces strife." Causing drama, stirring up trouble when maybe there isn't even any, or overly focusing on all that negativity that we've talked about in weeks past, what does that do you? It just brings you strife. It just brings you problems and trouble. It blinds you to beauty. But it's guaranteed. I think that's the part that struck me today that I wanted to just share with you and meditate on with you. The author, Agur, he's saying this is a certainty. Just like if you churn milk, you'll get butter. That's what happens. And if you punch somebody over, now I think the accurate word is wringing of the nose, but the idea being if you cause harm to the nose, blood comes out. That's what happens. You keep popping yourself in the nose, or you keep letting someone pop you in the nose, you bleed. Those are certainties. And he says, so too then, you see the poetry is so beautiful. Just the same, so is stirring up anger in you, or stirring up anger in others. It's just going to do one thing. It's going to produce strife. That's why Paul says, fathers, don't stir up your children to anger. Why? Because that produces strife. That produces trouble. And trust me when I say the best intentioned raising of a child, enough trouble will come. Jesus said, tomorrow has enough worry of its own. Don't worry about that. You just be in the here and now. Be right here, right now. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough worry of its own. Don't worry about about trying to stir up some strife in your kid because they didn't exactly do what you wanted, or they didn't exactly say what you wanted, or how dare you embarrass me? Like, no. Don't do that. Just train them well. Teach them well, because there's going to be enough trouble to deal with. There's going to be enough trouble in the day without you getting mad because somebody cut you off, or somebody said something on the news you disagree with, or yet again some wacky, vain idea caught wind in the world and it seems like it's just going down the toilet faster and faster. Sure, but let it go and just focus on what God's called you to do. I got the chance to, every Wednesday, when we can, we record the podcast together, Ashley and I, and today's topic was about purpose. In fact, I super encourage you to, I hate self-promotion. If other people want to do that for me, God bless them. I hate it. I hate doing it, but I'm going to do it right now. I really do. I encourage you to give a listen. There are 196 episodes at this point. That is crazy to think, but there are 196 episodes. You don't have to listen to every one. I encourage you, whether you use Apple Podcasts, the app on your telephone, Google, maybe you're a Spotify listener, I don't care. It should be on every one of them, but wherever you can go to find podcasts, you search Musings with Townsend and Preacher Man. Look, I can show you. This is, you found the right one when you find this little icon. Focus, camera. Hello. See this? Focus. Close enough. That's good enough. That's not whatever. It looks like that. Cartoon me, cartoon Ashley, Musings with Townsend and Preacher Man. You search that in the podcast. I encourage you to listen to episode 196. Now, it won't come out. It won't be live until this Friday. Go listen to that one on the purpose, because everyone has the same purpose. And when we're stirring up anger and strife, it blinds us of our purpose, but we all have the same purpose, to do what God says. That's it. The Bible even is so gracious that it tells me that's what our purpose is. It says, this is the end of, this is the point of man. This is what you are here for. And you blind yourself to that when you think something will change this. I'm real mad and I'm gonna say what I want to say, but it's not gonna go bad this time. This time they'll understand. I'm gonna tell my wife exactly what for, but she's gonna have a come to Jesus heart to heart with me when I pop my lid and say things I'm going to regret tomorrow and act stuck up and childish about it because I refuse to admit that I said something I shouldn't have. Don't ask me how I know that. Don't ask me how I know that happens. Oh, I just appreciate that the Bible in such a beautiful way, and I'll quit stressing that, but just in such a poetic way. When you churn milk, what do you get? Butter. When you punch a dude over and over in the nose, what do you get? Blood. When you stir up anger in someone, what do you get? Strife. You get fuss and a fight and negative. But we are the beauty bringers. We are the truth bearers. We are the light of the world. And what a great mission and great gift we've been given together. Just lay hold of it and be about that every day. It's summertime. And when you're just an old regular dude, that just means not much different. Some things change. If you're in my world, things change. The calendar changes. Doing something in the middle of the week changes because that's oriented with school. When you're a student or a teacher, lots changes in the summertime, doesn't it? And that's fine. What never changes is what you and I should be focused on and what you and I should be doing, and not those guaranteed wrong things. This way never ends up well. Don't go that way. Doing that never plays out the way you want it to. Don't do it. You have a purpose. Accept it and go after it. And don't stir it up, and don't be so easily stirred. I'm going to finish by quoting. I won't name him. I don't think he likes the attention. But I learned from the horse world that one way to put this is, I don't know this. Small educational moment. When you have to get horse manure out of the hay that they stand around in, you use a rake and you rake it out, but it stirs up dust and stinky and all that. And if you're being overly worked up and you need to chill out, the saying is, put the rake down. Put the rake down. Right, we need to be people going around the world, situating ourselves in the chair, telling folks to put the rake down. It isn't the way they want you to believe. It's beautiful. Life is beautiful. Your purpose is beautiful. Don't go after those certain things of strife and anger and frustration. It doesn't have to be that way. Jesus says, I want you to have a life filled with joy. That needs communication, that needs openness, and that needs spending time with him. So thank you for being here to do that with me right now. I pray and hope that God would do great and mighty things with what we've said and shared here in just these few moments. I'm going to put my little glowing hands up and say a prayer for you as we come to a close. Lord, I just pray for my friends, my family, for myself, no matter what we face, no matter what we deal with, that we would not be so eager to fall victim of the things we know are guaranteed, that you have shown us and told us through the Bible. These are guarantees. When you stay so focused on strife, on worry, on anger, you get a certain result, and we don't have to have it. Instead, we can have joy and beauty when we just give it all to you, surrender it to you, and go about completing our purpose in life to do the things you've told us, to do the things you've commanded, each and every one of us. We have the same purpose. It's just going to look different, but it's the same purpose: to know you, to trust you, to have you in the right place in our lives, and then to just do what you told us. So simple when we realize this. We don't have to figure everything out. Just do what we were told. And to avoid those things that are certain, like stirring up anger and strife in our lives and in the lives of others. Help us to see beauty. Help us let go of all that stuff that gets stirred up. Help us put the rake down. And help us just lean into you, learn from you, and trust you in all things. And in doing all of that, we ask you, enable us to do it, but may it be for the glory of Jesus and no other. In his name we pray. Amen. Thank you all for being here as always. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you stay cool, stay dry when it's raining, but stay in the middle of God's will for your life. And as we come to a close here, I remind you, as I always do, now you go out into the world tomorrow, the day after that, and you pour kindness out on everyone you come across, all because of the kindness Jesus has poured out on you. I love you. Thank you for being here. Good night, everybody.